Woo! What's going on, guys? Almost Forum coming at you guys today with another video. And today's video, I'm going to be talking about yesterday's game versus Indianapolis Colts, week 2 of the preseason. Detroit Lions won. It was the first time they won a preseason game since 2018. I believe it was a nine game streak or something like that along those lines, where they haven't won a game, and they finally got that off. The monkey off their back, if you want to say that, and won a preseason game. Now, last week, I made a video about the Atlanta Falcons game, and it was called something along the lines of way too early highs and lows. Now, this week it's going to be called Now Is It Still Too Early for the highs and lows of the Detroit Lions preseason game versus the Colts. Kind of just being a little bit funny there, but not going to jump the gun. For the whole game that I was watching, there was some good things and bad things, for sure. But majority of that game versus the Colts was very good. I thought, it was all depth players. Didn't see any starters. Didn't really. If there were any starters, I don't remember seeing any of them from a Detroit Lions point of view. Derek Barnes was in there. He's a possible starter. Okuda. We saw Will Harris. Those type of guys were in there. So there was a couple starters on our end. On their end, I don't really recall. I didn't see any superstars over there. Jonathan Taylor didn't play. Matt Ryan. It was pretty much all their backups as well. So it was a lot of depth players from back and forth from both squads, both the Lions and the Colts. The Lions won, like I said, 27-26. Colts could have tied it up, I guess, at the end there. Decided to go for 2. It's preseason. You want to see what you got out there, and then they didn't get the 2-point conversion, and the Lions won. But I'm going to start with the lows first. And it's not a lot of positions. There's one position, one unit, I guess you could say, that I thought was extremely low in this game. That I thought was very, very low, and it was the secondary overall for the Detroit Lions. I thought they played really bad football. Now, too many big plays were given up. Guess when? Guess when those big plays were given up? And I have said this, since the beginning. And people are going to tell me, "Don't worry, calm down. Let's not get too hyped up about this. Don't get too concerned." Guess when the secondary gave up a lot of big plays? It was when the D line could not generate a lot of pressure. That's when they gave up a lot of big plays. And I know that people are going to say, "Well, that's the NFL. That happens all the time," and it does. And it does happen all the time. But that just shows me, though, too, with this team, that we don't have those playmakers in the secondary. We don't have a lot of playmakers in the secondary. Okay, Amani Ore didn't play. Tracy Walker, those type of guys did not play. But it still came true. It just, if they don't generate pressure, that secondary gets gashed. That's just the way I think it's going to be all year, even with the depth, even with the starters. So backup starters, it doesn't really matter what it is. Hopefully some of our starting secondary guys, though, can make a few plays, because I think it's going to be really, really key here. Now, when I say they gave up a lot of plays, they did. They gave up 275 total yards through the air, a couple touchdowns. Mike Hughes was out there, man. He led up a really big completion to Desmond Patton that I really noticed. He bid on a fake play action, whatever it was, and he got turned around. It looked like Will Harris got beat a little bit too on it. They gave up like 75% completion percentage to all 3 of the Indianapolis Colts quarterbacks. That's bad in itself right there. They were getting torched on crossing routes. They were just getting beat on almost everything. The cornerbacks and safeties looked pretty much lost out there for the most part at times. So they really need to get their stuff together. It did look like, I remember on the one touchdown throw, it did look like cornerback Mark Gilbert for the Detroit Lions. He got pushed off by that big wide receiver, Mike. I don't know. I still can't say the kid's name. Strachan. I know I'm saying his name wrong, but he's a big boy. He's like 6'5", 6'6", 200+ pounds. He's just a really, really big dude. And it looked like he fully extended his arms pushing off Mark Gilbert. Mark Gilbert was chirping at the referee about it, asking him about it. Referee just played stupid, like they always do. And it was a big play given up by the Lions, though. It just seemed like it happened a little bit too much in that game. Then there was another crosser that confused Bobby Price. He's fighting with Mark Gilbert, and a couple other guys too, trying to get that CB4 job, trying to be the second or third corner off the bench, or first or second cornerback off the bench. Because we literally got Okudah and probably, Omani Warrior for sure, and probably Jeff Okudah, and then Will Harris. So trying to be that CB4, that first guy off the bench, that Mark Gilbert or a Bobby Price, and they both didn't have great games. Mark Gilbert's a big dude though, but Bobby Price got really confused on a crosser. Kirby Joseph too was in the mix. Kirby Joseph did have some tackles though, but whenever I see that a safety gets a ton of tackles and he's not really playing the run that great, he's usually letting up a lot of completions, and then he's tackling the player. At least he's not letting up big scores or anything. I think he did let up a score against the Falcons game, but it was a week ago. But he's been okay, but he looks kind of confused a bit at times. But I do like Kirby Joseph. I think he's slowly developing, getting better. I just think he needs to get a lot better, and hopefully it's going to be quicker. But Bobby Price and Kirby Joseph got crossed up, and then that led to like a 50-yard touchdown. I don't remember who it was for the Colts that gave it up, but it was huge. And then there was another one in the secondary again. This is the last one. UDFA Cedric Boswell, man, he gave up another late touchdown in the game where the Lions were up. It was 27-20. There was like a minute and change or something like that left in the game. Not even, and he gave up another late touchdown. I don't know who scored that as well, but another Colts wide receiver did that. That's 2 weeks in a row for Cedric Boswell. He's a UDFA undrafted free agent, so he's probably going to get cut. He hasn't really done much. He hasn't really stood out too much in camp as well too. So not a bad football player, but he had a tough road making the squad. Anyways, he's probably going to be among the cuts for sure. And that was really it, guys. That was really it for the lows of this team. I thought everything else was high. I thought quarterback play was high, running back play was high. I thought the D-line play was high. We'll get all that. I even thought the linebackers were okay. Even though it's a really bad linebacking room, they didn't seem to do anything that really hurt them. So that's pretty good. But that secondary, my God, they were terrible. They were absolutely terrible. They gave up all kinds of yards, a couple touchdowns, all that. So it was a little rough out there. Now for the highs, I thought Blau and Boyle were really solid. David Blau got the start. He played the whole the first half, first and second quarter, and then Boyle took over in the second half and took over the third and fourth quarter. So Blau should have had 2 touchdowns, but Khalil Pimpleton, another at UDFA, he dropped the pass in the end zone. It's got to be caught. Went right off his helmet or his mask. Got to catch that ball. And then Boyle led the team to 2 Detroit touchdowns as well. One early, one later on. Both quarterbacks I thought were poised and under control for the most part. Blau did throw an interception though, trying to fit a ball in between 2 defenders. Ball was deflected in the air. Linebacker or something like that grabbed it from the Colts. It was a bad throw, but this is a pretty, I thought Blau played well, and like I said, I thought Boyle played well. Boyle, I think, really, really needed this, and it looked like his name is still in the race. There's a lot of people out there saying that it's David Blau and nobody else, and now people are saying it's Tim Boyle and nobody else. No, it looks like right now David Blau is the front runner, but anything could change. All depends what they want. Do they want a smaller guy that's got better legs, that is a little more accurate, doesn't have the strongest arm though, or do they want a big guy like a Tim Boyle with this big statue, who's got a cannon for an arm, but is pretty much inaccurate and doesn't really have that scrambling ability that David Blau has? I think, not that David Blau is 10 times better, but I think Blau should be in the mix more. And from what I'm hearing and reading, it looks like Blau is in the lead. But both quarterbacks were good. Not going to really complain. Just the one bad throw by Blau. And then the Lions itself, they rushed for over 170 yards. Kudos to the old linemen. All the reserves were out there. I thought all the reserves played pretty well. Matt Nelson kind of struggled a little bit, though. I still think he's that third old lineman coming off the board, off the bench, though. Unless they go with the Kevin Jarvis, the kid from Michigan State. It all depends. He's a little more versatile, so Matt Nelson could get cut. I think Kevin Jarvis might have, that's a camp battle going on right now. But they ran for 170 yards, touchdown run by Godwin Igwebuike. He was running very hard as well, too. The players like Justin Jackson, he had a 7.7 yards per carry. Craig Reynolds started the game. He ran really hard, ran really well, running through guys, getting first downs. He had a 5.3 yards per carry. Godwin Igwebuike had a 4.6 yards per carry in the touchdown. So, and even Blau had a couple nice runs as well, too. Even Tim Boyle did have a run, and that's a guy that does not run. That's a guy that does not run. You go look at any of his stats from college or any of his videos from college. He's a guy that doesn't even tuck and run. So that's all good right there, and he even had a decent run. But Blau is the better runner overall. And then Trinity Benson, I thought he stepped up. I think that was a must-have by him. He had to do it. He had 4 catches for 44 yards at 11 yards per reception. I thought that was pretty solid. And then Shane Zylstra, he had 5 catches for 34 yards. They kind of showcased him a little bit too. He made some blocks as well. He's getting better at that. And then the Tom Kennedy situation, man, Mr. Reliable, Mr. Dependable, whatever they're calling this guy, man. 5 catches for 24 yards and 2 touchdowns. 2 really nice touchdowns, by the way, too, man. On the one throw by Blau, it was at the end of the first half. Kennedy's going to the goalpost. Blau just kind of threw it up in the air. Kennedy contorts his body, goes up, kind of snatches the ball away, touchdown. Really nice play. And then on a Boyle throw, ball was nicely placed where only Kennedy could have got it. Kennedy had to outstretch his arms, almost like a fingertip catch. It wasn't totally a fingertip catch, but it was he outreached his hands and his arms, man, made a nice catch. 2 touchdowns on the day. It's going to be harder and harder for this team to try and get rid of Tom Kennedy. It's just the only downfall of Tom Kennedy. He doesn't play special teams. That's the only downfall. But I like him a lot. He's showing out. Cephas, who's the guy that is my favorite, he never even played. So that's probably not a good thing for him. I know they're trying to take it easy on him, but he did not even play. And guys like Trinity Benson and Tom Kennedy stepped up, man. So has this turned into a Benson versus Tom Kennedy? It may have. Who knows? But one of these guys is getting cut for sure. But Tom Kennedy, man, he might be sticking around. Who knows? He just doesn't play special teams. And neither does Cephas. So Benson does that. Benson takes back kicks. He can play a little more special teams, use him as a gunner if you want. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. And then the D-line, I thought the D-line played really well. They had 3 sacks on the day, and they were creating pressure all day. John Kaminsky, Austin Bryant, and Eric Banks all had sacks. It looked like Austin Bryant had 2 sacks, but they gave it to Kaminsky. They were both in on it. It looked really close. It looked like Kaminsky kind of like missed him, and then it looked like he touched him. Wasn't too sure. Then Bryant was right there. I thought maybe they should have gave half a sack to each guy, but 3 guys had sacks, and that's good. They were creating pressure all day. Austin Bryant was just getting in the backfield. He was abusing whoever was trying to block him. He was lining up as a left D end, and he was just abusing that right tackle, whoever the reserve was for the Colts. And he was getting into the backfield a lot, creating some pressure, and I think he's earned himself a spot. And then the linebackers, man, I've been destroying the linebackers since day one, but I thought they were a bit quiet, but they made a couple decent plays. Like, nothing that really stands out totally and goes, that were splash plays, but guys like Derek Barnes made a couple nice. I think he had 3 tackles on the day, 1 and then 3 assists, or 1 or 2 assists, something like that. So he had like 3 or 4 tackles. He made a really nice tackle at the line of scrimmage. He was part of another tackle at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield. He was kind of flying all over the field. Didn't see a bunch of him, but he did play. And then Malcolm Rodriguez and Chris Board, especially Chris Board, had a really nice pass coverage. I believe it was on a tight end. It was right around the middle of the field. Chris Board dropped back nicely, came in, put his hands up. Ball was, he kind of, I don't know if he deterred the ball or even tipped the ball, but he kind of threw off the pattern of the tight end, and the ball went down incomplete. And even Malcolm Rodriguez, he had a nice coverage on a wide receiver. Looks like he got right there. He probably wouldn't have got his hands on the ball or anything like that, but he was right there to make the tackle. So it's pretty nice seeing him being able to run with a wide receiver. But they didn't have a great day, like a great game, but they made a couple plays, the linebackers. Things that you don't really see. Things that don't really make the stat sheet. That's how I kind of say it. If they don't make the stat sheet, then that's, you know, people say that they're not doing their job. You can do your job without making a stat sheet. It's that simple. But that's really it, man. That's really it. There was some good, and I think there was some bad, but there was mostly good. And I was impressed, man. The only thing that I was really, really low with was the secondary. That was the only thing. And I know it's the depth chart. I know it's all the backups to the backups to guys that are going to be selling cars and, you know, working in real estate and becoming agents and just doing all that, man. I know it's guys that are not going to make the club. Like, you know, some of these guys will get cut, released, whatever, how they do it, waived, and some will get picked up by other NFL teams, some won't. Some are just going to be getting other jobs, man. You know, this is why you went to school, and there's going to be some guys that will just, you know, that will be working outside of football. It's that simple, man. But the Lions, I thought their backups to the backups were better than the Colts backups to the backups. I think it was all a good showing overall for the Detroit Lions. Just the secondary was pus. I thought it was really bad, man. I thought it was really bad, especially when they don't generate a pass rush. But sometimes you got to make a play on your own. And that just didn't happen with that secondary in Detroit, man. Secondary in Detroit starting to make me a little nervous. Linebackers still too as well, but they did play a little bit better in this Colts game. And that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for chiming in. Thanks for paying attention. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button in the bottom right. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, get all my videos, and don't forget to like and comment this, and we'll talk about it. How'd you guys feel about the Colts game, man? I thought overall it was really good. A couple lows, mostly highs. We were good out there, man. We still won the game, 27-26. It's not about wins or losses at this point right now, even though Dan Campbell wants that. That's what he preaches, and that's cool. But it's all good. They got the win. One pride, baby. Go Lions. Boom.